MultimediaJay radio-style theater presents A Goofy Day at the Radio Station.
The Morning Show with Jerry Moe.
Hello, Carissa.
Good morning, Jerry.
What you got going on in the newsroom today?
Oh, you know, news.
MultimediaJay radio style.
Well, if by wild chance, somewhere, sometime, somehow, SomeCallMeJim happens to hear this, by however he happens to do so, he is going to be cracking the heck up. What is up, everybody? This is MultimediaJay radio style coming at you from the Geeks. Nope. How long is it going to take me to stop saying Geek Suite? Jay's Geekhouse. That's more like it. The move is progressing very, very well, and as part of my new, place to crash, or whatever you want to call it, make like an E-machine and crash. As part of my new setup, I am experimenting with the closet trick that I've been hearing about for quite some time, where, in order to make better sound recordings, load up a walk-in closet with a bunch of clothes, then wheel a laptop in there and go to town. It's kind of what I'm doing right now. Unfortunately, said laptop happens to be the turd Shiba, so you might hear its fan spin up if by wild chance me recording this stuff stresses the processor a little too much. You know, I hear some tap, 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 tapping noises if I accidentally bump my headset into the clothes, right? It's very tight and cramped in here. And it might hit the laptop card as well. I really got to figure out how this is going to work, because I've known about this trick for a very long time, but this is really my first attempt at it. It's also my first attempt at anything podcasty from the new place, as the move has gone very, very well. Today just happened to be the day, the final trip, I should say, where everything that I was picking up from the Geek Suite is stuff that I want to have in the Geekhouse. Everything after this is something that I have to sift through. So, starting tomorrow, the stuff that I'm taking from the Geek Suite is going to be stuff that I've decided, I had to actually do some thinking as to what it is that I want to keep. And some of these decisions have been very hard decisions. Some of them are outright painful. Like, for example, I think at this part of my life, it's time for me to say goodbye to books of various types that are still physical books. I mean, I've discovered e-readers and e-books and the things you can do with e-reader services, and overall, cloud-based all kinds of stuff, whether it's books, games, movies, etc. Cloud-based stuff is really, I mean, if you can get over issues like needing connectivity, or something like the issues with authentication, like with Steam, if you can get past all of that kind of stuff, these cloud services that are out there these days are really, really good for this kind of thing. They really are. And you don't have to worry about a physical collection of stuff catching on fire, getting stolen, getting flood damage. Who knows, maybe you have a chain-smoking neighbor like I used to have that could rent herself out as a coal plant. And you end up with a situation like, well, yeah, I actually had some curtains on day one that still smelled like smoke until they were able to air out in this new place. And the previous tenant smoked too, so I did have to do some spraying and get some air freshener going, but it wasn't to the extent that Smoke Lady did. So it was a massive improvement, to say the very least. You know, I've shut off most of the electricity in the Geek Suite. I only put on like a couple of lights when I go there nowadays. And, because I'm not running the 24/7 window fan anymore, it reeks of whatever they happen to be smoking every time I go over there. The good news is that my stepmother does housekeeping for a living these days, so she's more than willing to help me out and give me a few pointers with cleaning the place one last time, so we can maybe get a smidgen of the security deposit back. But with how much the slumlord was absolutely giving me such a hard time about everything, I really don't. I don't think I'll be able to rest easy until maybe February of next year. I really think I'm going to be all worked up, at least that much, because of everything that's going on right now. Work's becoming a bit of a mess as well. I'm starting to wonder if maybe it's time for me to change that too. I've already changed where I live. It would be a shame to change where I work right after moving really close to where I work. such that we're talking a 10-minute commute in the morning that's only a couple miles. So it's close enough. Oh, there goes the fan. This is why I should not be using the turd Shiba for these kinds of recordings. Matter of fact, my eventual plan is to find a way to get a small screen working in here and have whatever's making the laptop or whatnot sitting on the floor outside, but that's still a long way off. And the screen has dimmed, but the processor will not shut up. Try as I might, so it sounds like the wind is blowing in here, even though the acoustics are far, far better. And there goes the screen. Yeah, this is going to take some getting used to. The thing is, though, I'm trying this because if I open the door to the closet, there's quite a bit of room reverb going on here. I don't know how much of that's going to show up, but it is definitely something I should try to get working if I can get a quieter computer going here. Okay, now the computer decided to shut up. Bravissimo! Whatever. So, this move, like many other moves, has been, well, for one thing, I've lucked out. First of all, this is happening during an El Nino winter, when things are supposed to be warmer than usual, and so far they have been. We haven't been anywhere close to any kind of wintry weather, and we might be looking at either a rainy winter or an icy winter, but not along the lines of the kinds of snow that we've been getting in years gone by. Plus, we're coming out of a moderate drought in the autumn here in New England, so I don't know if this might continue and we don't get much precipitation in the wintertime, although we are getting enough that the river out by the Geek Suite has started flowing again for the first time in several months. So yay, we're getting something. I just don't want us to end up with a situation like California and how bad California's gotten. You know, California, celebrity land, great place. Everybody says, I want to move to California. And, well, maybe not so much with some of what's been going on lately with the drought and everything, and even my allergy. I guess I gotta spray down some of these clothes. They might have some of the residue from the Geek Suite. I didn't get away from the Geek Suite for nothing. So, yeah, I've kind of lucked out. The weather's been fine, and the weather's been better than it could have been. Also, because we're essentially talking my old work commute as the distance between the old place and the new place, I've foregone using any kind of U-Haul services and just had like a friend with a truck basically helped out a bit. And I, for the most part, have made this into an after-work thing. So I keep my old commute for the time being, go back to the Geek Suite, load up whatever I want to take that go-round, and then come back. It's just really bizarre when your entire routine is flipped the other way from what you had going on earlier. So previously I started there, then came here, then went back to there. Now it's here, there, here. So it's rather interesting. It's rather interesting to be taking my old work route, the way I used to go to work, but it's PM instead of AM. And as I'm driving through the industrial parks and those back roads for the area where I really don't feel like messing with what lurks on our turnpikes these days, I'm over here like, do not go to work, do not go to work, do not go to work, to remind myself, not to go to work. Although maybe one of these days I should go into work just to be funny and talk and wave the second shift security guard, second shift security guard, if I can say anything correctly. Wave to the second shift security guard. It's a bit of a tongue twister when you think of it. And say, oh, oops, I was trying to go home and I went my old work route, blah, 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 blah. So it's just, I am definitely looking to be out of the Geek Suite by Christmas, easily. Have the keys back to the landlord by Christmas and hope I don't get too many security deposit shenanigans. The big thing to keep in mind with that is that I was in this place for 10.5 years. There will definitely be some wear and tear involved there. I just hope that this guy doesn't try to claim stuff that was there when I moved in. We have that documented and stuff like. Quite frankly, the best thing for this guy to do is just move on. I'm gone. He can clean the place up, bring in a 2-income couple, raise the rent a couple $100 a month, and maybe start doing that for the other units too, depending on what kind of attrition rate he can get with the other units. But I'm thinking at this point, if he breaks away from his retirement to give me any significant amount of trouble after I return the keys, it is a personal vendetta. Because from a business perspective, there is very little reason for him to be going nuts. Because I haven't been punching holes in the walls or anything crazy like that. I was just reading the other day about a tenant in New Jersey, a known problem tenant in New Jersey, who busts out the power tools, drills holes in the floors of places that he rents, and then turns around and screams that the landlord's not taking care of the property. And invokes every law that he possibly can. Oh, you gotta fix this, da-da-da-da-da. I'm not paying rent until you fix it, and pulls every stunt in the book. I mean, lawyers in that state know this guy by name. It's insane. I'm not one of those people. I just had a bad situation snowball with an inconsiderate downstairs neighbor who smoked the hell out of the place, so much that when I go back there, it smells like someone's lighting up in the kitchen and even upstairs in the loft. It's that bad. And don't forget, I've said this all kinds of times, but I'm going to say it again. These units did not have shared ventilation. It's not like when I was in college and there was an air-based heating system where if someone lit up anywhere on the dorm floor, the entire floor would smell whatever it was that you were smoking. It wasn't like that at all. No shared ventilation or heat or HVAC stuff anywhere. And yet, this happened. That's what we're talking about. That is, and it's going to be interesting to see if this guy can even get the place rented out to anybody that isn't at least as much of a chain smoker as Smoke Lady was. Because I hope Smoke Lady has some friends that can move in to take my place, because it's going to be a bit tough. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, 2-income couple, maybe with kids. Yeah, there's so much smoke in the place that you don't want. Do you want your kid breathing in all that? And then sometimes it's pot and it mellows you out, and it's just like, quiet enjoyment. Methinks it is not at that place, and yeah. But don't get me wrong, folks. As much as people have been congratulating me about this move, there has been a depressing element to it. We're talking over a decade of my life now that I've had to close the book on because of inconsiderate jackasses in an apartment situation. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about here. It hasn't been all wine and roses. Even though the Geekhouse in many ways is superior to the Geek Suite, by leaps and bounds, me bringing my subwoofers out of retirement being the least of the improvements here. Despite everything that has improved with my change of venue, we're still talking about me remembering what that place was like in its prime before all this garbage started happening, and just remembering all the good times. Getting out on my own, checking out YouTube for the first time, messing around with broadband that wasn't community or not community college provided for the first time. There's a lot that I can fondly look back on in the Geek Suite's prime when I think back to those years. And it's just a shame that it all had to just rot out like that so much. That the paint had to go from beige to ugly off yellow, and it screwed up my vlogs and things like that. That the landlord just blew everything off and then got explosive towards me when I took the steps that I said I was going to take in terms of reacting to the stuff he wasn't fixing. I really don't know what to say to this anymore. I just want it to be over and done with, and I'm sure he wants it to be over and done with as well, so he can re-rent at a significantly higher rank and significantly higher rate. And then, of course, start doing maybe something like that with the other units as well. He wouldn't have to do much in terms of turnover to start making more money with that place. But again, that's his business. That's for him to figure out. As for me, I got to figure out my own situation right now, wrapping everything up over there, finding out how I'm going to do things here, and where I'm going from here. Is my change in venue going to bring a change in job in the next year? Because that's a very distinct possibility. There's some issues going on at work right now that have got me thinking I should consider myself as having one foot out the door, no matter what people say. But I'll leave that for another discussion. Thanks for listening, everybody. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.